Yeah.
Oh my goodness, are we back? Wait. Hello, you have entered into the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa Lacan. Did you play the beginning? I'm just like, oh my gosh. Tonight we're talking about regrets. Oh my goodness. And what is a regret? We're going to get in it tonight about regrets. And I know you may have a regret about something. I know I definitely have a regret about something. We're going to talk about regrets and how one can kind of get over those regrets, because oftentimes if you stay within your regret, it can fuel guilt. Guilt can fuel depression, and then you can go down a deep, dark hole. And sometimes it's really about forgiving yourself and perhaps forgiving others. So we'll be right back. Stay with us in the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa Lacan. And we're sponsored by Blessed Ministries Incorporated. And we'll be right back after our missing persons.
You are entering the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa Lacan. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about sex.
All right, so we are back in the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa Lacan. And as always, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. every Tuesday. Let me repeat that. I am here in the Urban Suite and I give my report on a missing person. And tonight is no exception. So who do we have tonight? We have Antoine Demetrius Hart. Antoine Demetrius Hart, he's been missing since April the 19th, 2024, from Riverdale, Illinois. Listen, you folks from Riverdale, Illinois, I need you to look at his picture. I need you to share this information because this is someone's child. Now, if you're listening to the sound of my voice from Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, I need you to pay close attention because you cannot see what I'm seeing. However, you can go to my YouTube channel, Urban Twos for Change Network, and you can look up this episode and you can see him. All right, so this is Antoine Demetrius Hart. Missing since April 19th, 2024. And today is May 14th, 2024. He's 23 years old, from Riverdale, Illinois. His gender, he's a male. His race is Black. His complexion is medium. His height is 5'11". He's 200 pounds. His hair color is black. His hair color is, length is medium, and his eye color is brown. Listen, I need you all to listen to what I'm getting ready to say. Location last seen. Antoine has been missing from Riverdale, Illinois, again, since April 19th, 2024. The circumstances of his disappearance. According to family, Antoine suffers from severe mental disabilities and schizophrenia. So typically, if someone has this diagnosis of schizophrenia, it's probably best to look in a couple of places. Number one, a shelter. Number two, the hospital. Or number three, jail. Those are three places, typically: a shelter, a hospital, or jail, especially if he did not take his medication. This is very important. He has schizophrenia, and I don't know what his characteristics are, his traits, if he hallucinates, I have no idea if it's positive, negative, but those are the three places definitely to start: a shelter, hospital, and jail. So anyone with information, please contact the Riverdale Police Department, and their number is area code 708-841-2203. Again, let me repeat that. Area code 708-841-2203. Or you can get in contact with BAMFI, that's the Black and Missing Foundation, at 877-97-BAMFI, which translates into 22634. Again, let me repeat those numbers, because those, my urbanites out in the audio land, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, you can't see these numbers. So I'm going to repeat the number again: 708-841-2203. Or you can get in contact with BAMFI. That's the Black and Missing Foundation. And that telephone number is 877-97-BAMFI, which translates into 22634. All right, so let's bring Mr. Hart home. All right, so tonight we're talking about regrets. Listen, let me tell you, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've had some regrets in my life. I've had some regrets, and I think a regret, in my opinion, is something that you deliberately engage in based on your decision, but later you're like, why did I do that? Why did I date that person? And 20 years later, that person looks like Teletubby. I mean, like, what? Regret? What in the world was I thinking? What in the world was I thinking? And sometimes we're not thinking at all. We're just doing things willy-nilly. We're doing things without looking at the full picture, meaning we do things oftentimes without considering the consequences, without considering, okay, what is going to happen if I engage in this behavior? Now, it may not happen right then and there, but it could happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I want to show you a new trend on TikTok. This is a new trend on TikTok. So I'm going to mute it. So my folks, my urbanites in Audioland, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, tune into my YouTube channel, Urban Tunes for Change Network, so you can actually see the video. I'm going to mute it because I do not want a strike. I'm telling you, they be striking. And I understand. All right, so what's the first video? All right, so play it again and let me read the text. Who you think is answering those emails? So here's a man in a polished suit, and then 3 seconds later, he's dancing as if he's having fun. Maybe he's a little inebriated, but he's polished, and then you see him dancing on the street. So go to the next video. Do you have any other ones? All right. Who do you think people are sending an email to? So here's a young lady. She's polished. Who do you think they're emailing? She's polished. She looks very professional. And then the next thing you see is her appearing to be inebriated, hugging a tree and falling on a pine tree. And people are taping this and recording this. So say, for instance, if she were applying for a university, because sometimes universities, they look at your social media posts and they see that. They could say, you know what? I don't think this is the type of person that I want in my student body. And as a result of that video that you displayed, as a result of your behavior, I'm going to reject you. It's a possibility. Now, on the flip side, people are saying, well, what I do privately is my private business. It is, but it's not private if you're publicly showing it. So it's no longer your private business. I think oftentimes we think just because I do something and then you share to the world, it is your private business. Well, in reality, it is not your private business. And I can say that if you are young and you're a part of this whole TikTok trend where you're showing your professional look, and then the next thing that we see of you, you're drunk, you're out in public, you're looking like a mess, I'm gonna, as an employer, I don't think I would hire you. But while you're doing it because you're in the mood and you're in the midst of this trend, you're not seeing the full picture. You may think it's cute. You may think, oh my gosh, this is, I'm going to get a lot of views. I'm going to get, this is going to go viral. Well, it may go viral, but the person that you want to be seen in a right or the good light, in a sense, may not look at that as something as being positive. And then what may happen is 5 years from now, you may have a regret. Who is this? Namaste. Oh, yes. Let's see. Good night, Felicia. Namaste. Yes, 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 yes. How are you? Welcome to the Urban Suite. We're talking about regrets. Yes. And I think a regret is something that you engage in, you deliberately engage in, something that you can kind of control. It's in your control. But then later on, you look at what you did, or you look at what happened as a result of your behavior, and you say, why did I do that? So I just saw the Tom Brady roast. I just saw that roast a couple of nights ago, whatever. And it was, I have to say, it was very funny. There were certain parts like, oh my gosh. But they really got on him about his marriage, his divorce. Now, if you know anything, he has children. Don't you realize the children are watching this? So there was an interview that he did. I believe it was with TMZ. And he actually said he doesn't think he would do a roast again because it affected his children. You mean to tell me you're going to do this roast not thinking about the bigger picture about your family, your loved ones, your mother, because they really took his ex-wife through the ringer. Oh my gosh, it was. But the reality is his ex-wife is the mother of his children. That's their mother. And he knew they were going to talk about her.
Don't they already know that though? Like, don't they already know what was going on? Like, since they were living it?
Yeah, but not the children. They may not know to the full extent that she had an affair with the karate instructor.
Rumors we have to.
I mean, that's, he was like, if I would have thought about it, I don't think I would have come on. I like laughter, and I think, I liked it when they were just talking about me. But when you are in the midst of a roast and the roast is about you, it's fair game. They can talk about your mother, they can talk about your sister, they can talk about, they can talk about anybody that will bring some type of comedic relief. But he has a regret because the impact that it has on his children.
All right,
Hey, what's happening? Peace Mitchell, what's happening? Wow, it's better than the Blue Apron what? Wow, it's better than the Blue Apron co-worker. What?
That must be another story or something that we didn't
Wow, it's
catch.
better than the Blue Apron co-worker. I don't know what that is. What are you talking about, Thomas? What are you talking about? Peace.
Yeah, he might have to fill us in on that one. But
Yeah.
Going back to your first point, though, and one other thing real quick. Can you tilt your camera down a little bit?
Yeah.
Now, do you think like young people would be like, well, how come I don't get to live my life and just be who I really am and stuff like that when I'm not at work and stuff like that? How come they can't just live their life? What if that's their response to like going out and getting inebriated? Because it's technically not illegal to be drunk, right? I mean,
Well,
they weren't driving.
Right. Well, disorderly conduct, depending on what you're doing in that stage, because you can get arrested for disorderly conduct based on a certain alcohol limit that you have. But if you're just walking down the street and you're inebriated and you're minding your business and you may not get arrested, but don't drive a vehicle, don't operate a machine, don't, but that is what they're saying in the comments. Like, this is my life and who I am and so and so, so and so. I mean, that is true. But again, you have people that may make a decision about your life that don't think that. You always need to protect your integrity. Right. So, like I said, it's no longer a personal issue when you're displaying it in public. It's for everyone to see and for everyone to make a judgment call, whether good, bad, or indifference. And that person that's engaged in that behavior, they have to be prepared for everything. And they have to be prepared to say, okay, what are all of the consequences that can transpire as a result of me posting this video? And is it worth it?
It's not necessarily the behavior, but it's the posting it that's the problem. Like they could do that all day if nobody's recording it,
Right. So now if someone came to me as an employee and they wanted to interview me and I just so happened to look at that, I don't know if I would want to hire them. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
It's gonna make you think this is who they really are.
Right. Like if they call out of work, is it because of those antics?
Right.
If they're like, slumming on the job, is it because of that? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't. And I think people don't understand like the full picture of what their behavior, what the impact of their behavior. I don't know. And again, when you're younger, you're not really thinking about the full picture. You're not really thinking about, okay, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, you're just in the here and now. And you're not really thinking like, oh my gosh, it's sort of like that Freaknik video. How the girls on the car and whatever. A lot of them are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was behaving like that. Like, oh my gosh, like, and now, if your children see it or, it's just like, think about before you engage in a behavior, you need to really think about, okay, if I engage in this behavior, if there's a write-up in the newspaper, how would it appear to my family? How would my mom feel about this? How would my parents feel? How would the neighbors feel if I deliberately engaged in a behavior? Because it was so interesting. My son asked me about a regret. And one of the regrets that I shared with him was when I was in undergrad at Hampton, I wish I would have gotten more involved, like with the radio station, more clubs, because it was there. I wish I would have gotten more involved. I wish I would have gotten more involved because I really didn't have, much responsibility. I had, of course, no children. I had no bills. The only thing I had to do was study and go to school. That's it.
And you ain't have social media to leave no,
Right.
a bunch of crazy videos.
Right.
out
Didn't
there.
have social media. Yes. Did not have social media to do that. So he said, "Oh, Mom, I thought you would have said when you went over my hand with the vacuum, because I accidentally, when my son was about maybe 2, I had the daycare and I was vacuuming, and my son was very active and he was crawling, and I turned to vacuum and I put the vacuum down and it burnt his hand, and it left almost like a 3rd-degree burn on his hand from the vacuum because the rotor, the little thing was spinning and all the friction. So we had to go to the hospital." And I said, "Well, I am so sorry that happened, but I can't say it's a regret because I didn't purposely do it." You know what I mean? Like, I didn't purposely put his hand there and put the vacuum on it, and I didn't purposely do that.
Yeah, and that relates to like when you did put your best foot forward, but something bad happens anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't
Right.
mean to do it, so like you can't regret stuff that was just gonna happen anyway. You can't regret that.
Right. I had no control in a sense in that situation. It wasn't like I said, I'm going to go down and put the vacuum on his hand and, or intentionally harm him or intentionally engage in this behavior.
Yeah.
There was no intention. And I think with regret, oftentimes it comes with the level of intention. How much intentionality do we have in engaging in this behavior? And then you talked about risk. And there's nothing wrong with taking risk, but I think sometimes when we take risk, they're not strategic. They're not, and when I say calculated, it's not being devious or anything, but just to really think and ponder, okay, if I engage in this behavior, what are the possible consequences that can transpire? And I think oftentimes as a young adult, and I always say this, because our frontal lobe is not fully developed at the age of like 23, 24 or so, sometimes we engage in behaviors where we just really don't think about the consequences. And we think about the here and now. And we assume that the here and now is going to last forever. But it is not. It is not. I remember when I was 17 years old, when I graduated from high school, I did not think or really see myself as a 55-year-old woman. I just did not. I knew I wanted to go to college. I knew I wanted to do those things, but like my development and my age was not going to stop, but I didn't really think about that. I didn't think about 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 15 years from now. I don't know. Did you? I don't know.
Like, can you imagine all the regret some of these kids gonna have from 10 years from now when they look back on all the videos and the mess that they done did on social media already? Like, they already have a track record.
Thank you, Cynthia. Good teaching. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because you don't realize when you're in it unless you're really thinking about it. And let me tell you something. I'm going to say something about the Black community, about regrets. All right. So we had a staffer that worked with us, and she was from Egypt. She was Egyptian. So we were talking about, our clients that we serve and how they engage in different behaviors that's basically, that's all they know. They do what they know, and that's it. And she said something very interesting. She said how Egyptians see Black Americans. And she said that Egyptians see Black Americans as too busy looking at their feet. Do you know what that means?
What does she mean by that?
What do you think about it? Think, too busy looking at their feet.
Not looking up, not looking at what's coming ahead of them, just looking at.
Yes. Yes, that is the stereotypical view that they have of Black Americans, that we are too busy looking at our feet. And if we're looking at our feet, imagine walking and looking at your feet. You can't see what's ahead of you, and you can bump into all of these things because you have no vision to look up and to look out and to look forward. You're busy looking at your feet. You're looking down, and you're just in one direction. You're not up, looking to the left, looking to the right, there's no strategy. You're just busy looking at your feet. And that's how they see Black Americans, just busy looking at their feet. So it was interesting because I kind of understand what she's saying, that we are busy looking at our feet. And then I think 50 years from now, we're still singing, "We Shall Overcome." We're still, saying and singing the same songs without much impact and much happening in our community that is really making a huge impact, especially when it comes to wealth. So it's just really interesting. I don't know how old these people are. Do you have the other one?
Yeah, the teacher. You mean the teacher?
No, not the teacher, but the one with the young lady. Did I give you that one?
Yeah, we.
I thought I gave you 3.
Oh no, just the 2. Just
No.
the 2.
All right, so I'm going to segue into something that caught my attention also, and I just talked about not everyone being your friend. And I know this substitute teacher he regrets this, but again, social media, everything's exposed. Okay, let's show the video.
For letting his students take out his braids was fired from his job. His students began texting him after he never showed up to his classes, which made him emotional.
Hey, bestie. I really hope that you see this message. How are you? I hope that you're okay.
All right. Okay. Now, anyone that knows me know, Curtis, I cry at the drop of a dime, right? I'm very, I have a lot of empathy. Yes, I cry like boom. Yes. I feel nothing from this man.
Maybe he's sad that he lost his job.
I'm not feeling anything from him. Now, what he is reading is communication from his middle-aged school student that calls him bestie.
His middle school students, yeah.
Yes. So why is your middle school calling the teacher bestie? So I have a problem with this.
Quick. Just go into the whole background because they didn't show enough of it. Tell her what happened. Tell her what happened.
All right. So this gentleman right here, yeah. This gentleman right here is a substitute teacher. I don't know the school district right here. That's the right here, teacher. Now this is his video. His phone is showing this. Those are students, 2 students in his class taking out his braids. Now, this thing got me to, oof. All right. So people in the community are asking, but what's the big difference? Like, why are they getting all out of shape? Why did he get fired? All right. So you have middle school female students engaged in an intimate act with an adult, taking out his braids. Now, let me ask you all. If I ask my daughters, my sons also, but I'm saying daughters because I'm talking about the females right here, taking out his braids. How was school today? And what did you do in school? And they said, oh, we took out my teacher's braids. What? Like, you don't go to school to take out your teacher's braids. This is not a cosmetology school. This to me is someone, now this is from the adult perspective, not the children's perspective, because they're children. Again, their frontal lobes aren't fully developed. This is a grown man, a teacher that is allowing these females who probably don't have, and I'm going to make this into a stretch, who may not have a male in the household, who may crave attention from a male, engaged in an intimate act, and then they're calling the teacher bestie. Bridget said, that's a no for me. What's happening, Bridget? That's a no for me. Raquel said, yeah, I mean, come on. This is crazy. Crazy. So now he, I guess, regrets what he has done. And I guess he's saying it wasn't his intention. I don't care about intention. Obviously, you didn't read the handbook or you weren't trained properly. Let's see. Why are we even filming on school property? Hello. That's what I'm saying. This has gotten out of hand. This filming, this, having the phone. I know Fairfax County Public School in Northern Virginia, they are meeting to ban cell phones from the schools and the students. Now, why do you think, or what do you think this gentleman may regret?
Getting fired, I think. I think he regrets getting fired.
What else?
He lost his job.
Right. What else do you think he may regret?
He lost his bestie?
Yeah. Well, but I think he regrets, in a sense, engaged in that behavior and filming it and putting it out there on social media. I don't think he has regrets necessarily about what he did. I think he has regrets about displaying it in the open. Yes, he feels embarrassed. I believe he feels embarrassed. And that's what, if you engage in a behavior that's like, should I be engaging in this? Like, I don't understand his mindset for him to actually engage in a behavior for young girls to put their hands in his head to take out his braids, and for him to be okay with that. There's something, I don't know. Bridget, you're an educator. What do you teach me something? I don't know. Am I off the rocker with this?
Let's listen.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries. Yes, there are no boundaries, and we have to set boundaries. And I think social media has allowed boundaries to be blurred. So we have a take of this young man giving his perspective about what's happening. All right, so let's show this.
Questions about the teacher was reportedly fired for having a group of girls take down his braids in class. We're watching this video and we're asking, are his intentions pure and is this too intimate? But those are the wrong questions to ask because we can only answer them after somebody's been harmed. The questions we need to be asking are, what is being normalized by this interaction? And what feelings might this interaction be causing in a child? As a youth development professional, your intentions are irrelevant when you realize your job is to model behavior that can and should be replicated by other people in your position. So what is being normalized by this interaction is being live streamed. Physical touch and proximity.
Live stream. This intimate act is being live streamed. Like I said, this is not a cosmetology school. He is not in a hair salon. These are young, impressionable girls that are in middle school that may seek the attention of a man. And apparently they do, because they called the teacher bestie. I can never imagine calling any of my teachers bestie. None of my professors, none of my teachers, we were not friends. I didn't even consider my teachers as my friends. Didn't consider it, never. I mean, this is good. All right, Sam. Hello, Sam. I'm telling you, were an educator. Can you imagine? Can you imagine seeing that in a classroom, walking by a classroom, seeing students taking out braids of a teacher? I mean, all right, let me continue.
And it's being normalized not only for the young people, but for everybody watching. And that's important. At best, this interaction creates a foundation for something called transference. Transference is when feelings and desires get projected from one person to another based on past relationships and unmet needs.
Sam said, this is just ridiculously funny. Unfortunately, yes, I can't. Oh, this is where the school system in our, listen, the education system in our community is this. All right. Let me go. Let me finish because
Transference can create feelings for a kid that are inappropriate and unproductive for a teacher-student relationship. So a young person who
transference, yes, even as counselors, therapists, we can experience transference. Yes, it's a slippery slope. Yes, it is.
has unmet needs for affection, attention, and validation might project feelings of admiration onto an adult who just introduced physical touch into their relationship.
Uh-oh, wait a minute now. Uh-oh, we have some. Sam said not in a white school, though. Any thoughts about that? Not in a white school. So do you think that this is only relegated to the urban schools in the Black neighborhoods where we should be learning about writing and reading, arithmetic? They unbraiding the teacher's hair. Now, I do understand that it was near the end of the class and the students had state exams nonetheless, but not in a white. Let's talk about it. Would this happen in a predominantly white school? That's just let's see what she's saying. That's just like a blondie putting the teacher's hair in a man bun. All right, let's go. All right.
Relationship. That in and of itself makes a young person more vulnerable to harm when those inappropriate expectations aren't met. If those inappropriate expectations are met, or if they take those same boundaries into relationships with other adults. Inviting physical touch into a teacher-student relationship creates fertile ground for grooming. That's the process a predator uses to build trust and emotional connection with a young person they intend to manipulate, exploit, or harm. They might use attention, affection, guidance, and special treatment to fill an emotional need from a kid's life. Then they'll desensitize that young person to physical touch and sexual topics, starting small and building up. All the while, they're testing their boundaries to see how far they can push before a young person resists or someone speaks up. The entire time, there's plausible deniability. The point is to slowly push the boundaries and make everybody involved question whether or not their suspicions are warranted. The kid, the parents, the people around the kid. So if something doesn't feel right, but you just can't put your finger on why, or it doesn't seem like a big deal. If it seems like a gray area, but just not big enough to speak up about, that's the point. Making people question their own instincts means the victim and the audience are groomed or prepared for the next step. So
you hear that? That is so true. It's a grooming. That's why it's called grooming. You're preparing it, and it's slowly but surely. It's going to happen. It's a slow, insidious process. It's going to happen. They're very patient, and they appear like they're so loving. And then I think in one video, he even called them his good friends or his buddies. And I'm like, first of all, using terminology like that is kind of off-putting, and there's something not right developmentally with that teacher. I'm sorry. It's not, never would happen. No, you're right. You're right. Mindset is incorrect. Absolutely. I put my Pop's hair in barrettes and got my butt vest. What? What?
She might have meant beat. She might have meant beat.
Oh.
How can you tell the difference between someone who's unknowingly creating the conditions where transference might occur and someone who is grooming a young person and the people around them for abuse? You can't. If you could, kids would be a lot safer. There are people who will say that this sort of interaction is necessary to build culturally responsive relationships in school. We're asking the wrong question.
And then the thing that got me, a lot of parents didn't understand or see an issue with this. And I'm like, what? Like, what? You don't
Well,
see-
real quick, let me just play devil's advocate for a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Like, because in some ways, though, braiding and unbraiding hair is not necessarily a sexual thing. And I'll give you an example. Because, like, when guys are in jail and stuff like that, other guys braid their hair and stuff. And people are like, oh, that's weird. And like, actually, it's not. Like, if for people that's in jail or whatever, like, guys braid other guys' hair and because that's who's the only people that's in there to take their hair out and, you know, do their hair and stuff. So for some people, it's not a sexual thing. I don't know.
Well, intimacy doesn't have to equate with sexuality in a sense. Just because you're intimate doesn't mean that it's sexual.
Okay.
So you can have an intimate moment with someone, but that doesn't mean that it's sexual. So an intimate moment with kids, now you're talking to jail. So you're talking about adults, right? So when you, in your scenario, you weren't talking about a 14-year-old
Right.
All right. So you're talking about two adults. So this is apple and oranges. We're talking about impressionable kids or children, youth, with an adult who is supposed to be a professional, who's supposed to be their role model, who's supposed to be a mentor, who's supposed to be a safe haven. So it's totally different. Now, the thing is, braiding your hair versus taking it out, pretty much anyone can take out their own braids. I could take out my own braids. I just couldn't braid my hair. Let's see, not at home. This is school. Exactly. This is school. This is not prison. You know, we're not talking about an institution of incarceration right here. We're talking about a public school.
Look at that next one.
If this was a girl doing a male's hair at home, that's different. Yes. Now we're talking about
not the act.
Right. It's the one. Right. We're talking about, because guess what? If that guy was perhaps a friend, maybe, but this is a teacher with a student. So and the thing that with this society, they want to get rid of roles. They want to get rid of male. They want to get rid of female. They want to get rid. You cannot oftentimes get rid of roles when it suits you. He is a teacher and they are students, and each one has a role to play. But this society, they want us to get rid of roles. And if you get rid of roles, you have no boundaries. If you get rid of roles, anything goes. So the school district fired him. And then people are like, well, why would they fire him? I don't understand. Well, let me tell you why they fired him. Because in the event, we all knew that this happened. In the event that he crossed the line and he sexually had an overture of one of the students, and the school knew about this as well as everyone else, that's a major liability, because it would look like the school did not take an action. That's right. Power imbalance. Absolutely. There is no way a 14-year-old student should have their hands in a teacher's head. I mean, when you think about it, it's like crazy. Sam said, I don't know if I would fire him. Well, he was a substitute teacher, so he probably is no longer able to work in that district. I would fire him. I'm sorry. I would fire him.
And again, I will say this also too, and I mentioned to you earlier, but in East Orange Campus High School, they have an actual whole beauty salon inside the school. like where they do hair. It's like I don't know if I guess they charge too. I guess they charge, a fee because like they have a cafe in there, they have a store in there, but they also have a whole beauty salon where they teach the
Yes,
kids
but
to
they
do hair
teach
and stuff like that.
yes, I know, but this is not a cosmetology school. And oftentimes in those schools, they have dummies that they work on, like the little head thing. And then when they get to a certain point, they do have clients that come in
Yeah, they have
and do
clients
it.
and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But
It's
I'm
just like
sure
a
the
high school.
teacher is not the client. And in this case, that has nothing to do. This is not cosmetology. These are like 14, 15-year-old impressionable young ladies,
Right.
girls that
Right.
are digging their hands in this man's head.
Right. And they're not necessarily learning anything. They're not learning how to do it or anything like that.
She said he was a sub. Anybody can be a sub. Now that's a problem.
They need teachers. They need teachers.
That's a problem. Well, nobody wants to be a teacher anymore.
Right. They need that. So they like picking people on the street because they don't,
You have eyes and a heartbeat,
yeah.
and you can talk.
Feel like babysitting somebody's kids all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It really is. Sam said, amen. Yeah, I mean, it's so. Are you putting it down? Let me see. Bridget says subs need training. They do. They do. I know they have some training, but I don't know. Sam said that's why she left. That's why she left teaching. She was an educator. She said, I'm a deuces. I am leaving. It's very limited. She says it's very limited. I believe that. I believe it. I mean, I can't imagine. Can you imagine when you were in school thinking that your teacher was your friend?
No.
No. They didn't give me anything to make me believe that.
Now I remember having a lot of young teachers either though. These people are young. Like these people
And that's the problem also.
I
A
had
lot of
old
these teachers are
teachers.
young.
I had old people teaching.
Yeah, we had old teachers. They had the glasses around the neck and all this other stuff. There was this one guy, he said that he became a teacher. He started teaching after college, and he purposely did not teach high school. He only taught like elementary because he did not want to get into like the idea of, he was a decent looking man, handsome, but he didn't even want to go down that road, So he just stayed with the little ones.
Tell Sam and explain those two comments. She said 2 weeks and then versus 1 year. What does that mean?
Sam, what does that 2 weeks versus 1 year? What does that mean? See, I need you on the show. You have to come on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, I think, is it the training? The training?
Wow. Oh, wow. Only 2 weeks to become a sub?
Versus a year? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, wow. That might be, yeah. Yeah, because, all right. Now, you don't think there's any possibility that he was like doing it innocently? You don't think there was any possibility of that? Like,
I do think he was doing it innocently. I do. Well, no, let me put that back. Wait. No, I don't know. Because predators look like that. And they're not.
There's no way to tell. There's no way to tell if he was
right. There's no way to tell because he could be a predator. I don't know. I have to say his tears to me did not look authentic. They look fake and phony. They look like, I just posted the histrionic personality disorder and how that looks and stuff. And it's all about me, maybe he could have a little bit of a personality disorder. I don't know. But the histrionic personality disorder is like this. You cry. Who's looking? How many people are watching me? How do I look through my tears? His judgment is off, Bridget. Totally off. And I don't know if it was intentional or not,
Mhm.
because he openly displayed it and posted it.
Right. He wasn't hiding it
He
necessarily.
wasn't hiding it. So if he was
He thought it was
hiding,
okay. Like he thought it was okay.
right, if he was hiding it, because a lot of predators oftentimes they hide their stuff. They want to be very secretive about doing things, like don't tell anybody, or whatever. He just put it out there.
Right. Now his intention is completely different than the FAMU situation.
Yes. All right. So poor judgment. Poor judgment. This is a great segue. Bridget, you're going to appreciate this as a graduate of an HBCU. Raquel, you're going to appreciate this as a graduate of an HBCU, historically Black college and university. Let's put the picture up of FAMU. Florida, agricultural MU. I don't know what the MU stands for. I really don't. I'm so sorry. But
Medical? Maybe?
No.
No, it ain't medical. Okay.
No. Pauses $237 million donation amid scrutiny, university to audit major gift process. Listen. All right. I was so upset when I heard this. FAMU accepted a $237 million donation from this gentleman. He spoke at the commencement ceremony. This gentleman spoke at the commencement ceremony, presented them with this check, and it's fake. The man doesn't have a business. The man isn't who he says he is. And FAMU fell for his trap. I could not believe. They did not vet this man. Yes, they did not. Bridget says, I'm already done. They did not vet the man. They didn't have signed contracts with him. They did not Google who he was. They did not ask around who he was. They just accepted this $237 million donation, thinking that it was authentic. Come to find out, the man is a fraud. Major embarrassment. That's a major. Bridget, that's a major embarrassment. That is, oh my gosh. That's like, oh my gosh. That's a major embarrassment. Like a major regret that you did not follow proper protocol. I'm assuming that FAMU is like any other university that you have an assistant VP of development. And the AVP of development is the one that is oversees like donations and stuff like that, especially the big donations. So it's that job of the AVP developer to say, okay, let's do our due diligence. Let's look at this person's financials to see if this person has this money. I am so shocked. What in the world is going on there? I have no idea, Bridget. And I feel so bad for the students because they had to sit during their ceremony and watch and listen to a scam artist. Now, this is the graduating class that did not have a real graduation 4 years ago, 2020, because of COVID. They probably didn't have a real decent prom. And now here they are sitting in their graduation in front of a huckster, in front of a person that totally lied and presented them with this fake and phony check. Yeah, the nerve of this guy what? So tomorrow, the Board of Trustees is meeting because I don't know what's going to happen with the president of the university. I have no idea.
Well, now, what kind of personality of a person would want to just go up there and present a fake check knowing they ain't got the money? Who does that?
I don't know. That sounds like some type of personality disorder too. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. They will have to. Heads will have to roll because the president knew. Now, the president claimed that he signed a NDA and that he didn't tell anyone because of the NDA that he signed. So apparently the president knew. Apparently the board chair knew. So those two people knew. I don't know if the AVP of development knew. I don't know if the school's general counsel knew, but I'm going to say something. It sounds very fishy to me that the president and the board chair tried to hide this initially because the full board didn't find out about it until I think it was at the graduation. Someone contacted one of the board members, a newly elected trustee who was just appointed in January, called her and told her, and she was like, what? Like, to me, an amount of this size should definitely go in front of the trustees.
Do you think maybe like they were trying to make it look like people were donating or something like that? They thought it was going to make them look good. Like the school thought it was going to make them look good on TV or something like that to have people donating that amount of money.
Well, of course, because they already allocated where the money was going.
There was no real money.
Bridget said I would have passed out. Bridget, you would have passed out when you found out it was fake or when you thought it was real. Like,
yeah, because I mean, like they were allocating money that wasn't real though. Like there wasn't like you're not going to be able to do anything with that money. So it was just the publicity. Maybe he did it for the publicity.
Well, he got it. It was fake. Yes, it was fake. I would Bridget would have done like this. I would. Oh gosh, I'm, I don't know what's going to happen with the meeting tomorrow with the president and the board chair. I don't know. I think he may resign. And I'm using air quotes for my audio podcast. When I say resign, somebody's got to resign over this. Someone has to, I think. I just
like Bridget said, heads have to roll. Somebody's got to be responsible for that. Yeah. Because they let it go way too far.
And to speak, he gave a commencement speech.
He got the outfit on and everything. He got
and he went to the Staples and got the check. He got the big check from Staples.
Well, that was the easy part. That was the easy part, though.
This guy said that the $237 million was tied into some type of stock. The stock doesn't even exist. Nothing exists about this man. Bridget said, me too, Bridget. I was like, oh my God. I was so hurt. And I was hurt for the students because their graduation is being overshadowed by this. I was hurt because it happened at a HBCU. And I was hurt because I think that's it. Yeah. I think the student thing really like, oh my gosh, even though the students, they still have their diplomas, they graduated, whatever, but their graduation will forever be remembered as listening to a person who faked the school out. Like, I mean, yeah. Rattlers president Larry Robinson announced the pause during a meeting Thursday. Why do we, as people of color, take on the embarrassment that should belong to the offender? Yeah. Yep. Well, I think it's, because it shows that we're vulnerable. And I think oftentimes we don't like to be seen as vulnerable, especially if you're the president or you're the chairman. Now, this chairman of the board, she wears, I believe, several hats at the university. And her portfolio reads that she has emotional intelligence and stuff like that. So I'm thinking like, usually when I meet someone, LinkedIn, you can Google LinkedIn, look at LinkedIn and see, you can Google them to find out who they are. Yeah, you can do those things, and then you can pay for services to look even further into people. And I'm like, I just find that so odd. I was embarrassed, and I don't even know those.
Yeah, that's what they were saying on Twitter, that like people on Twitter was the ones that found out that they just Googled the person. It was like, who is this giving us $237 million? It was like, this person ain't nobody. Like, this is not real. And then like they kind of like blew it up on social media before the school knew about it.
Oh yeah. So this was totally different than the Spelman donation. You remember the Spelman donation? Was it 100 million?
That was real though. That was real.
No, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was
Spelman donation. They were tied to the university. They were trustees, and everyone knew about their wealth and their trust and their foundation and stuff like that. It was no secret. So it was like, okay, but this guy has no connection whatsoever with the school. He doesn't have anyone that he knows, like kids, whatever, that went to the school. No relationship whatsoever.
That should have been red flags for them.
Yes.
They just saw they just heard the money and it was like, that's good publicity or something. Like,
Well, they probably heard the money, that it was not only good publicity for the school, but I hope they were not thinking about using some of it for their own personal benefit.
Well,
that's what I hope. Yeah. I hope not. Because they didn't tell him. Why do you not want to tell your board about this? I mean, I don't know. That's why the board is there. The board is there to safeguard you. That's the job of the trustees. The trustees are there to safeguard the school, to make certain the policies, the finances, to make certain the president is doing what he or she is supposed to do, and not out of a vengeful heart, but out of the betterment for the university. You cannot hide those things from the trustees. You just can't. And only the chair knew. But
yeah, they messed up.
But remember, I said this is the year of exposure. And something more may come out of this. I really feel that something more may come out of this. Now, and I'm going to say something. A lot of HBCUs have been caught embezzling. And that's why a lot of them are in trouble. Because for the love of money. They have been caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and it's not good at all, because at the end of the day, they're taking away from the students. They're taking away from the students who perhaps may not have enough money to go to the school, but they have the passion, the desire, the intelligence, and because the administration is taking away and putting their hand in the cookie jar, a lot of those students are not able to go to school. There was another HBCU that is losing or have lost their accreditation. And I think they may be closing down because of mismanagement. So something more may come out of this. I don't know. But now a major audit will probably need to be done. A major audit, a major forensic financial audit may need to be done at that school as a result of this, because it's just not, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the president of my school, and I say my school, Hampton, doing something like this. I just can't. There's no way. No way. No.
It's supposed to be some sort of checks and balances somewhere.
Right.
They got to everybody.
Right.
But that's, I guess, because if the president okayed it, then everybody else is like, okay, well, it's okay then.
But no, that's not how it goes. That's not how it goes. There's layers before the president even signs off. A certain amount has to be approved by the board.
But look, the dude had the robe on and everything, so somebody got him the guard, the outfit and the mortar and tassel thing, and they let him be up there. They gave him a lot of time for the speech and everything. It's hard to just get up there and speak at a commencement. Like the time is allotted, but they gave him a whole time slot.
Yeah.
So
It's just, we have to do better. We have to do better. I mean, we really have to do better. We do as a community. We have to do better because
well, look, again, let's not stress out over just one situation too, because Hampton and so many other schools and Spelman, like you mentioned earlier, are getting legitimate donations that, stuff like this doesn't happen.
Yeah, actually, and what has happened over the course of, I would say, a couple of weeks or whatever, a lot of graduates. So congratulations to the graduates, especially those that did not have a real graduation in 2020 because of the pandemic. So I salute you. Congratulations, and go out there and change the world and stop making those TikTok videos, because let me tell you, universities are looking, employers are looking at your social media posts. Whether you think it's cute or funny, they're looking at it and they're making a judgment call. And some of you all may not be getting into schools because of those videos.
Do you think any of these young people are going to regret these face tattoos?
Yes.
Like in 10 years, you're going to be like, why did I get a face tattoo?
Yes, we see them in our office. Yes. And we have to tell them to put makeup. We give them a certain makeup. And then there's a way now that they can remove the tattoo.
Because it's like, you never saw this many face tattoos before.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, the last 5 years, like, it's like, now I don't want to say regular people, but a lot of people get face tattoos nowadays. Like, way more than we ever used to see.
They regret it after they come out of whatever phase they were in and they start to adult and they start to live life as one that, you know what, I need to make money because it's not just about me now, and I have a family. I have responsibilities right now. But when they were doing it, they were too busy looking at their feet.
Because, I mean, it used to only be like a thing a person tattooed somebody's name that they no longer with now. Like, you know what I mean? Like getting somebody like your significant other's name tattooed on you, and then you're not with them anymore. You know what I mean? Like that is a big thing. But now you got a whole face. Some people put people's faces on them. Like the other people's faces they tattoo on themselves.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna regret that after a while.
Yeah, especially the ones that they put, Mary Jo forever. And then they done broke up, and I'm like, what are you gonna do with that? Right. Who's Mary Jo? Every time you're like, oh well, that was a girl that I met. I mean, what? Yeah. People aren't thinking. Like I said, they're busy looking at their feet. They're not looking at the full picture. They're not being visionary. Like there's no vision. Like there's no, okay, what if I break up with Mary Jo? What if this doesn't work out? What if Mary Jo breaks up with me? What if no one is like sitting down and thinking about the consequences of their actions or their behavior or the consequences of their inaction. So, yeah. All right. So on that note, next week we will be here in the Urban Suite. It will be with my husband, Sean. We're going to be talking about relationships. I don't know exactly what, but we will be here in the Urban Suite, Lord willing, next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here. And you can catch us on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as, of course, YouTube. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Until next time, thank you. Where you laugh, learn, cry, and grow in the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa Khan. On that note, Molly, take us away.